Okay, so I've got the side back panels cut, and as you can see, I have used pins, in this case those round-headed pins that you find. I don't particularly like pins when you're cutting because they tend to distort the fabric a little bit, but most of you are used to sewing with pins, so let's use pins. Alright, so we're going to set that off, and we're going to pull the face fabric here. Now, this face fabric, as I said, is extremely lightweight. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to make sure that your fabric is folded along the warp line, and the warp line runs the length of the fabric, and you're going to cut your pieces that way. You'll also try your best to get it on grain, and the best way to get your fabrics on grain is to rip the selvage off. In this instance, I can't rip the selvage off, but it is that heavier woven line along each edge of your textile. Match those edges up, and then work your way to the fold, and then you'll have your fabric pretty straight. Alright? This fabric, as I said, we're going to do good just to get the pattern going in the right direction, and it's one of the reasons that it has to be serged onto this heavier ground, because this stuff just moves on its own volition. So we're going to lay it on here, like so. Let's check to make sure that we've got at least our lining with the grain going properly. And so align it as best you can. Let's check it with a ruler. So let's use the right end, and we're like right almost 7. Oops. Almost 7. 6. And let's move you back a little bit. Alright. So, now we're on the straight grain, and because this lining is a lot heavier than the face fabric, we won't have to pin that down. Now, if you're using scissors, go ahead and pin it to your face fabric. I am using a rotary cutter. I've gotten in the habit of using that, and I tend to like them a lot. You get a much more accurate cut. Don't move your rotary cutter if you're using one, and this is the first time you're ever using it, but don't move your rotary cutter back and forth, because you'll just end up chewing up the edge and have to go back with a pair of scissors and clip it free. Now, once you cut your pattern pieces, you're going to want to separate them and align the lining with the proper side of its face fabric. And as I said, once they're cut, don't move them around too much. Typically you want to move them once after they're cut, meaning you'll take it directly to the machine. In this instance, I have to, because if I don't do it immediately, within a few minutes, I will have a face fabric that is twice the size of its lining, and there'll be no way to get it back in shape. Alright, now that I've done that, I'm going to take these things over to the serger, and I'm going to serge off the edges, and then we will put the side front and the side backs together.